You're welcome to the Policy Council. My name is Okwemi Agbaje. The issue of business integrity, or the absence of it has been a critical deficiency in the Nigerian business environment and indeed in public governance. The Convention for Business Integrity, a group of individuals and institutions that have subscribed to a higher level of private and public integrity in Nigerian business, organized the second annual Christopher Kolade lecture on business integrity. The theme of the lecture was the business case for business integrity. And it argues that beyond morality, which is critical, there is a business case for businesses to toe the path of integrity. Speakers at the event included Ms. Aruma Ote, who gave the keynote address, Mr. Sheni Adetu, Managing Director of Guinness, and the Honoree, Dr. Christopher Kolade. Enjoy the program.
We found it necessary to have a lecture series on business integrity because we feel business integrity is still not what drives the ethos and the business model of many businesses in Nigeria. And we feel that that integrity deficiency continues to limit the competitiveness of the Nigerian economy as a whole. Why have we named this lecture series after our distinguished former chairman? It's because he, throughout his working life in the different sectors of society where he has worked, he has exemplified the ideals of business integrity. And we see in the way that he has run the organizations that and the positions that he has held throughout his career, we see that it is possible, even in Nigeria, to do business and to live on principles of business integrity. And we think that this is somebody that you could hold up to the rest of Nigerians and say, here is an example that you can follow. And that is why we have the Christopher Kolade lecture series on business integrity.
I would like to say a word of real gratitude and appreciation to the Convention on Business Integrity for doing me this so far in my life unmatched honor of naming this series of lectures after me. There are people at the end of any effort we put into business. And those people have interests that are important to them. Those interests do not always fall into the same line. Indeed, you can have conflicting interests among people who are involved in the same business. So this business of balancing the interests of stakeholders is really the main reason why we have to practice a certain degree of morality. Because to make the decision of what interest you're going to put above the other, which one you're going to treat first, which one you're going to treat later, these are decisions that involve not just technology or technical considerations, but also moral considerations. Brings me back to something I said in 1997 when we were launching the Convention on Business Integrity. I said then in public that here we were launching a convention on business integrity, and that I would dare anybody in this country to come out equally and say, I want to launch a convention on business corruption. But that, for me, is the key in our present situation in this nation. That even those of us who practice integrity, even those of us who resist what is wrong, are not as visible and audible in standing up and condemning that which we know to be wrong. There is so much that is being thrown at us in business, in social life, that we know to be falsehood, that we know to be incorrect, but we do not appear to have the moral courage to stand up and say that something that is wrong is actually wrong. This is what makes me particularly pleased tonight, that all our discussants are people who have either academically or in business had to work in this area of integrity. One of the ways that we can improve this country, one of the ways that we can actually bring integrity to be a norm in the culture, is to show such people that we're not going to be intimidated, we're not going to be cowed by what they want to do to us. So thank you very much, everybody.
My name is Femi Durojai. Welcome to the New Lagos, where things are improving every day. I work on the island and live on the mainland. But that's no longer a problem. With improved roads, I get to work faster. Sometimes I even leave my car and use the BRT bus, which is comfortable, fast, efficient, and reliable. After a hard day's work, the nights and evenings are even more fun. The streets are better lit, and the city is more secure. So I can catch my phone in peace. I pay my taxes because I want to continue enjoying the good things a big modern city like our Lagos brings. So it's my taxes that makes them real. Have you paid your tax?
Pay your tax. It's your civic responsibility. It's your duty. It's the law.
Integrity in business is a theme that is increasingly gaining currency around the globe. Some have said the global appeal of integrity in business is an indication that the virtue has all along been in short supply within business circles. Today we see leading businesses, whether it's their mission statements, their vision statements, their code of conducts, mention integrity. But we wonder whether their actions match those words. The starting point for me is for us all to agree what integrity really means. I think it's important for us to go back to the origin of the word in order to fully appreciate the value. The word integrity shares common roots with words like integral and integration, the Latin term integer, which connotes oneness, completeness, or wholeness. Integrity therefore signifies wholeness of virtue, wholeness as a person, or wholeness as a part of an integral part of something larger than the person, the organization, society, humanity. Integrity intuitively, to me, alludes to concepts of purity, soundness, and morality. Trustworthiness, consistency in doing the right thing are things that come to mind. There is no doubt, to me, that business exists to make profit and grow shareholder value. However, in the past, I believe there's been a common misconception that there is a conflict between being profitable and being ethical, that there is a trade-off between having integrity and making profit. I don't think so. And there's a lot of evidence to support otherwise. Indeed, integrity is an enabler of sustainable profitability. Businesses that act with integrity are long-term sustainable businesses. But even in the short term, several studies have shown that businesses that have given greater attention to integrity have done better, even from a financial point of view. There is therefore no need to make a choice between integrity and profitability. Integrity is absolutely critical in business. It is as important as the quality of a company's product and services in shaping the company's reputation. Some have even gone as far as to suggest that integrity is the most important asset a corporation can have. As the age-old admonition goes, a good name is better than gold. That is why in the corporate world, integrity is most commonly cited as a morally desirable trait. Adhering to a code of ethics and doing the right thing by sticking to that code, no matter the cost, is immensely powerful, both for an individual and for a company. Integrity is valued by all categories of stakeholders of a business. Shareholders clearly want their business to be properly governed. Investors place a premium on companies that set and maintain the highest standards. The best talents want to work with ethically sound companies that they can trust. The government, regulators, and civil societies also appreciate and reward integrity in business. Businesses who aim to please customers will get value from those customers because they put a value on how a company is conducting itself. When a company successfully builds a reputation of integrity, the benefits flow from the spectrum of stakeholders. It can enjoy customer preference when other companies' products or services are available at a similar cost and quality. In a nutshell, integrity helps build up reputational capital, which is an important component of any organization's value. There was an analysis done on the 1,600 top companies on the Morgan Stanley Composite Index, and it showed that companies that were well governed, who paid attention to integrity, tended to outperform those that were poorly governed by an average of 30 basis points every month. This was between 2008 and 2013. Another recent study that was published on the Harvard Corporate Governance blog found that high levels of integrity in an organization are positively correlated with higher productivity, profitability, better industrial relations, and higher levels of attractiveness to job applicants. By adhering to a code of ethics and doing the right thing, no matter the costs, companies actually end up improving performance and enhancing sustainability. Whether Nigeria is misunderstood and ranked lower than it should be, which is what I believe, and which is often the case, for me is not the issue. What is the issue is that we must have a paradigm shift where we focus more on proper conduct. To become competitive and remain relevant in today's global economy, our companies and public institutions must also imbibe international best practice in every sense of that word. But I think we should even do better. We should exceed what the global standards are and be the benchmark that others focus on. Let me talk about efforts to fight corruption and other forms of illegal flows. Many of you are aware of what the Nigerian government has been doing in respect to anti-money laundering efforts and countering the financing of terrorism. Prior to 2013, we were on the Financial Action Task Force grey list. And given our efforts, we were removed from that list in 2013. We need to do more, and we need to be courageous about that. I think every country realizes that this is important. But I also think that that means that there's no hiding place for wrongdoers. The UK's 2010 Anti-Bribery Act requires companies with any link to the UK to have robust structures to forestall shady dealings. The US Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, which everybody is familiar with, provides for up to $25 million in fines and 20-year jail terms. I've focused a bit about the benefits the benefits of running a business with integrity. But maybe I can comment about some of the costs to society of lack of integrity. Let us take the global financial crisis. The One Campaign estimates that the cost to society, the financial losses, were about $22 trillion. That's more than the US GDP. In the form of GDP contraction, loss of home value, the austerity measures. In our own country, the bailing out of the banking sector cost almost $500 billion naira. But beyond that, growth was stifled, jobs were lost, and critical investments that we could have made in the health and the education sector were directed to managing the crisis. Many companies have also paid dearly for neglecting integrity or for not paying sufficient attention to it. Enron no longer exists. BP has spent $28 million already, and we understand that they may spend another $18 billion. Halliburton suffered bans from government contracts in countries, including our own country, following various bribery scandals. And I can go on and on. Regulators around the world are also coming up to speed and showing that improper acts will not go unpunished. Following the many malpractices that occurred in the years leading up to the global financial crisis, financial services regulators have diligently prosecuted many cases, forcing a number of financial institutions to settle fines, with the largest so far being $13 billion settled by JP Morgan for the irregularities it committed with respect to residential mortgage-backed securities. Let me conclude by answering that question again that brought us together. Is there a business case for business integrity? Let me simplify it by asking, does integrity pay? Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel especially honored today by Dr. Christopher Kolade. I would not have been honored if I did not take that stand. But I believe it pays for individuals, it pays for companies, it pays for society. Even if you do not believe in the afterlife, even if you do not believe that integrity will get you a place in heaven or in paradise, I want to tell you that unless you are phenomenally lucky, that doing the wrong thing has big risks. Make no mistake, in the long run, it could be disastrous for your business. You could become an Enron as a business. Or worse still, as an individual, you could be like Madoff, who is serving 150 years in jail. The choice is yours. I thank you.
Who knows Abi better thing? Abi who no like better thing? All these fine things where they see so. Now money government they take do now. Abi, I think it's like, I mean, excuse me, I dey pay my tax. I dey do it, I dey pay my tax. Say you don't pay your own tax. If you pay your tax, I pay oh.
Pay your tax. It's your civic responsibility. It's your duty. It's the law.
What I'd like to do in these 15 minutes is to speak to what we do specifically at Guinness Nigeria to embed a culture of integrity. Because the culture of the subject of integrity really means the world to us at Guinness Nigeria PLC. But really, it's all about accountability. It's about how we hold ourselves to account, how we take responsibility for our actions. It's about transparency, the whole thing about openness, okay, due process, the rule of law, the environment in which we operate, how we relate to the environment, and as well as the investment we make in making a community. Or for that matter, given the pressure on CEOs these days, you never know. People just get to the point and say, look, I've got to grow shareholder value, and therefore, here's the number that I'm going to declare anyway, irrespective of what I've declared. Hopefully, by the time I finish, you will see the sort of mechanisms that we have put in place at Guinness Nigeria PLC to ensure that that does not happen. You mentioned Aaron, but there's more than Aaron. There's a whole lot of companies, some of them that 10 years ago you would never have believed that could go either on their knees or have their reputation materially damaged, really materially damaged, on account of integrity. So let me just speak to what we do at Guinness Nigeria, because I think that's where you get the value. It's not really about defining what integrity is or what business integrity is. But the first thing I want to tell you is that we have this performance ambition. And our performance ambition actually has a statement that relates to our reputation in it. And I think that's fantastic, because most times when you see a company tell you what their vision is, their vision is we want to be number one in X industry, we want to be number one in Y industry. But our performance ambition actually has a big statement of integrity requirements and standards in that. It says we want to be the best performing, most trusted, and most respected consumer products company in Nigeria. Now, trusted and respected absolutely speak to integrity. The other thing is that we have a very, very, very thorough, what we call COBC, the Code of Business Conduct, that applies to everyone from top to bottom, irrespective of your status in the organization. So the same Code of Business Conduct that is used to judge me is the one that is used to judge even the factory workers. Training and communication, very, very big for us. And the other thing that you see there is what I call enforcement and incentives. There's something we call P4G, which is Partnership for Growth, which is like the KPIs that we set at the beginning of the year. Every single employee of the 1,500 staff that we have has an objective relating to controls and compliance, what you must do and not do. And in fact, you are required to confirm that you have looked at your COBC and you have signed what we call the ACC, Annual Certificate of what, Ebola? Compliance, thank you. And every single person in the organization, including myself, has to demonstrate that you've read through that and you've understood it and you agree with the terms of that for you to continue your employment with the company. Every year, we bring every member of our staff into a room, every single one of them. I said 1,500. And in fact, for the day, we shut down all our production. We bring people into the room and we conduct what we call the pathway of pride. And it's really about telling people why they need to operate in a compliant way, not what they need to do. Just making them see reason, the value in doing the right thing. Okay? So we get people to talk about what they face in their lives. Because what we discovered before we got into that was that people were living two lives. It's the reason that when somebody is working on my premises at Guinness Nigeria, he wears his helmet when he's working at height. Okay? He's well kitted in his, we call it PPE, okay? The protective uniform and all that. But actually, when he's going out, and if he's a factory worker, and if he doesn't have a car, and he goes on an Okada, he realizes that there's no need to wear a helmet. Okay? And we're saying, actually, the head that you are protecting when you're on the premises is not different from the head that you are using when you're on the Okada on the road, just by coincidence. So, the point being that we bring people in and explain to them why they need to do the right thing at all times. Because that for us is the bedrock of integrity. The other thing that we do is speak up. Okay, speak up. If I were to do anything that people in the company suspect is inimical to the sort of standards we've got around integrity, guess what happens? Tomorrow morning, people in London, in Diageo, will know about it. And I love that. Because what I love about that is that it makes me be myself at all times. So as I close, I think that all roads lead to leadership. All roads lead to leadership. It's about leadership, especially in a massive organization like that. I said the camera is on you as a leader. I talked about the tone from the top. And the way I always look at business, and I've said this in many places I've made presentations before, I see every business as a tripod.
It does not matter what you do in a business, you are either within the people bucket, performance bucket, or reputation bucket. These three balls have to be in the air at the same time. You drop one of them, the company comes on its knees. Okay? My team have heard me say it like 1,000,000 times. And my thinking is this: if a company is fantastic with people and performance, okay, they treat their staff very well. Even if you are a factory worker, they buy a BMW for you from day one. They are fantastic with people and welfare. Performance, fantastic. Year in, year out, they deliver good results. But the reputation stinks. It's a matter of time before the company goes on its knees. Combine any two of the three that way, you get the same result. And the point being that you're running a business as a tripod where managing people, managing performance, and managing reputation all have to be in play simultaneously and successfully. It speaks to governance, but I think governance and business integrity are in the same space. Look at this. It speaks to corporate governance, but this is exactly what I think about Nigeria. It says, what Africa, you might say Nigeria, needs is not more strong men. It needs more strong democratic institutions that withstand the test of time. But without good governance, no amount of aid, no amount of effort can guarantee Nigeria's success. But with good governance, business integrity, nothing can stop Nigeria. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I hope you found this edition very useful. The point is, integrity pays. If you do not appreciate the case for integrity, then you will appreciate the costs of its absence, which has been very well illustrated both globally and in the Nigerian economy. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.